Buenos días, bonjour, ohayo gozaimasu. Es lunes, nous sommes lundi. Getsuyobi desu yo. It's Metacognition Monday. It's time for us to talk about how our brain works. Now, I'm going to start talking to you about specific pedagogical techniques to learn language. And I draw from every single pedagogical technique that's a teaching technique that has ever been invented. My class is not just one type, it's 100 million types, whatever will speak to you. And I'm going to tell you the theories behind all of the pedagogical techniques that exist. Okay? So today we're going to talk about the communicative approach. Let's just look at that word for a second. Communicative. Okay? So it is assuming that language is communication. Social context is of the utmost importance. That is, what's going on in your situation that you need to communicate. And the idea is that the listener and speaker are negotiating for meaning. I say something, you interpret it. Are you interpreting it the way that I want you to interpret it? Then I have to restate it. And so it goes back and forth like that. In the communicative approach, a brief text is given, and the text has repeated grammatical points. So here you might recognize this from Mango Languages. Okay. The teacher asks in the target language for you to paraphrase one aspect. Okay, so I gave the example of expressing conjecture. Okay, you guys have to speak in the target language and paraphrase back to me. Often you'll hear me paraphrasing first, kind of embedding the language for you. Okay, and then the teacher passes out a new handout, or rather, it's the exact same script that you just looked at, except that the sentences are scrambled and you have to put them in order and compare them with the original. You get to do that. There are lots and lots of games in the communicative approach, which is one of the reasons I like it so much. Cluolingo, it's Clue, right? Is a game that we play that uses the communicative approach. Oh, here's another one that we play. That's El Tiempo Temper Tantrum. All right. Let me explain my mantra for creating a game using the communicative approach. All right. So first of all, there's an information gap. So in my head, I always say, who stole the cookie from the cookie jar? That's an information gap. You don't know who did it. Okay. And then there's a choice. Was it Bob? Was it Fred? Was it Mary? Mary stole the cookie from the cookie jar. Then there's feedback. Who, me? Yes, you. Couldn't be. Then who? Who stole the cookie from the cookie jar? So when I'm trying to make a game using the communicative approach, this is what I'm saying in my head. And yes, by all means, if you want to help me make games for the class, absolutely help me make games for the class. I would adore that. Another game that the communicative approach really likes is story strips. We just saw the story cut up and then scrambled. And you guys have done this a lot, especially with song lyrics. You know that we often have to put the song in order. And then I pretend that that's a test. There is lots of role play, lots of script writing, and we talk about the script writing. We talk about what's in the script. We talk about how we made the script. The role play in the communicative approach is always, it's one of two things. It's either structured, where I say, okay, Bob, you're the boss. You write a role play telling your employees to take a pay cut. Or it's unstructured. Okay, you're in an office. What problem do you want to discuss? All right. That's harder for you guys to do at the early levels of language, but my later levels can do that. With the communicative approach, the role play is 99% of the time it's unbalanced. So you've got a boss and employees, you have a teacher and students, you have a police officer and someone they're arresting, you've got the president and the reporters. It's always a power imbalance. Okay, here these are way back when I used to have Duolingo training, and I'd train people. These were things that Duolingo gave me for role playing with them. Like you're a customer and you've got to talk to the sales assistant. So there's a lot of really fun games with the communicative approach, and we do a lot. I'm going to challenge you to think about what in our class is the communicative approach. Okay, when you see something, you can shout it out. Hey, that's communicative approach. All right, so that's your challenge for this week.